Now, from Into Tomorrow, this is an ITTV special report.
Our next guest is a media consultant and a good friend of ours in the show for many years, probably most of our 18 years, as a matter of fact. From Holland Cooke Media, it's Holland Cooke, his own self. How are you, sir?
First of all, congratulations on the 18 years. I haven't been on your show since you were ringing the chime for 15 or 16.
That's true. It's been a while.
And here we are.
But what brings you to this kind of a press event here, CES Unveiled?
The software, which is what I do, the programming content on the original electronic device, radio,
yes, indeed,
is now going on to all these other devices. And as you said a second ago, all of this media menu that we have now is eating away at the legacy media. New Orleans now is the biggest city that does not have a daily newspaper anymore. The New Orleans Times-Picayune is only publishing 3 days a week. Wow. Many people regard Twitter, which you mentioned, as the news now. And when you see that hurricane going up the East Coast, or you see a storm sweeping Hurricane Alley, often Twitter is ahead of the other media because people are reporting. This presidential election we've just survived is a prime example of people taking their information from wherever they want to get it. And the candidate who lost was reportedly stunned, because in this whole salad bar of media we get to choose from, we can now choose what we'd like to believe. So if you don't like those polls, let's go with these polls. So we are both enabled and threatened by the free exchange of information on platforms like Twitter. There are so many people out there saying so many things, and we know that unlike the networks, the newspapers, and the magazines, it's not necessarily edited, it's not necessarily fact-checked, it is Vox Populi, it's us. So we're reconciling, I hate to go all lab coat on you, we're reconciling veracity with velocity. If you see 1,000 people say something, it's probably true. If you see 2 people say the opposite, it's probably not. But you still don't know. We're making this up as we go along because all the stuff that's on display here is changing so fast. And why I love this industry, it's conspicuously successful. Who else in America is doing $206.5 billion this year?
Yeah.
And obsoleting everything that was shiny and new last year, and the demand is driving innovation. So why would a radio guy not want to be here?
But isn't there still something to be said about, since we go back a lot of years in radio, in media, where media, the traditional news media as we know it, tends to vet stories to make sure that something that they're reporting on, doesn't always happen, but for the most part, is accurate, is good information. And not the case, of course, with Twitter and Facebook. If it's up, you don't know whether to believe it or not.
That's the caveat emptor. Just because it's on the internet doesn't mean it's true.
Yeah.
So let the buyer beware. But you'll notice that all the old platform guys are rushing to embrace the new platform, and the network correspondents would love to have you follow them on Twitter so that they can draw your attention to their work.
Well, where do you see this whole thing going? This whole social networking is seemingly continuing to increase dramatically. And funny how you mentioned print media, a lesson to be learned there in New Orleans, because it seems like that's the case anyway. Other papers, if they're still existing, seem to be barely existing.
Newsweek magazine is about to roll the presses for the last time, but we live in a tablet world. We've just had a briefing here on research the Consumer Electronics Association does. We already know what's going to be in Santa's sleigh.
Yeah.
It is tablets and smartphones.
Yeah.
So if you're Newsweek, which just to say it sounds dated.
Yes, very true.
You've got to be on that device. And to me, the factoid that just jumped out of that research today was this industry grew 6% this year with tablets and smartphones. And if you took tablets and smartphones out, the industry would be down 5%.
Yeah.
So to answer your question, where all this is going, it's going in the pocket. You know, we get our stuff to go, and our stuff is something we ourselves contribute to. It's a great big conversation now.
Well, very cool site that Holland has available, and you got to see the kinds of things and what goes on in this guy's head.
It's a little scary.
It's a lot scary sometimes. Survivalspeech.com. And, of course, we'll link you there when you hit us up at intotomorrow.com. But, Holland, always fun to catch up with you, and you always have interesting takes on what's going on today as well as Into Tomorrow.
Congratulations again on 18 years, and I will see you in Vegas.
Yes, indeed. We'll be there. You can bet on it, you might say. IntoTomorrow.com for more. Again, survivalspeech.com, and you'll get a kick out of some of Holland's postings and then some. We're back with more from New York City at CES Unveiled as Into Tomorrow continues.